Good morning, everybody. I'm Marty Brayman. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your day to show up here for this meeting. This is something that affects all of us. So I just want to make sure that what the deal is. So first off, we need to thank Susan Canary for having this meeting and getting this set up for us. So thanks. So a little bit about today. We are going to give the McCluskeys the opportunity to speak to us. And if you have a couple of questions, that would be fine. And then from there, Susan will take over on a few things, and we'll move forward. Okay? All right.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marciel Lee. This is my wife, Michelle McCluskey. So, first of all, she already thanked you guys for coming, so I guess I don't need to do that. But what I will say is I just want to apologize for any misunderstanding that we might have allowed everyone here and really the whole city of Ocean Shores to believe that we're going to build a retreat center. That is no longer a reality and hasn't been for a couple of years. Our property in Ocean Shores is for a family vacation home, and that alone. And so, yeah, that's our plan going forward. And yeah, so I don't know that I have much more to say other than that. But I'd be privileged to answer any questions. Okay, we'll just start. Okay, go ahead. Please help.
I will. I was expecting it to last about at least 10 or 15 minutes. That was fabulous. We could probably just all have coffee and cookies and go home.
Cookies. Come on.
So I think what you could do is perhaps explain the history, what took place a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How that came to be, what the result of that was. And now, obviously, there is a big change.
Of course.
We didn't know about the change, which was the concern that everybody had.
Sure.
So if you can share some of that, I think that would be helpful, and then we'll put it out for questions.
Amazing. Thank you for helping us.
So, the property has been in my possession since, I think 20 years now. And I donated it to the church. And the desire was to build a place where ministers can come to get refreshed and such. But then I was not with the understanding that that's not allowed in the city. And so I have had to change to see what the city would allow, and come to find out they're not going to allow anything, so we're just going to build a house. So 2.5 years ago, we had a meeting here, and with the hearing examiner and such, and then it was decided after that, when his conclusion came in, that then I changed the whole floor plans, threw out that floor plan, and just found another floor plan for a regular house, and that's where I have been progressing since then. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. So you say that you're going to build a residential house. Is that going to be submitted through the church or you as a personal owner?
Okay, the property is owned by the church. And so in being a minister's residence is owned by the church. So that's where it's going to be.
So you're going to live here full time?
No, I'm not going to live here full time. I have a residence in Kirkland.
May I have a follow-up? Will you be paying taxes like the rest of us do on our properties?
Churches don't pay taxes. Is there a reason that you're concerned about the taxes?
So I'm going to jump in, because I was the one that said I would run the meeting. I don't have a gavel, but if I did, I will gavel you down. We all have an opportunity here to listen and to also speak and ask questions. But if you spend a lot of time making a lot of additional comments, we won't get through it, and not everyone will be able to hear when people are speaking. So as much as you may disagree or not like or like what you hear, let's just keep it as calm as we can so we can get through this quickly, because I actually have things that I want to do at the end of this meeting as well. So let's continue with that, and I know there are a number of questions. The answers may not suit you, and when the presentation is over and the McCluskeys leave, that's going to be an opportunity for us to discuss as a neighborhood community group some of these things that are of concern to us, but not with them here. Does that make sense to everybody, that we will continue that? So after the presentation and some of the questions, we will talk about our concerns. In the audience today in the back, we do have our city administrator. Scott, wave your hand. Thank you. So if there are questions that pertain to the city, to permits, to code enforcement, that kind of thing, he will be able to answer those. So from there, let's go on. Yes, thank you.
You said that this is going to be a vacation home?
Yes.
Okay, and your residence is where?
Kirkland.
In Kirkland. Okay, and how many bedrooms and square feet will this house have?
It's going to be enough to house my family, and so
That's
that would
not
be
an answer.
4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms? And how many bathrooms, please?
It's either 3 or 4, I don't remember.
And have you submitted the plans for this house?
We have submitted the plans, yes,
Okay,
to the building department.
that's my
Square footage,
Um,
and the square footage of the house.
Pardon me?
The square footage of the
Oh,
house.
yeah, she didn't answer that, square footage. I'm sorry, thank you.
It's about 3,000 square feet.
And is it on one lot or two, Michelle?
It's a double lot
Double lot.
that we merged them before the lids went in.
Okay.
2 4-car garage,
2,
2-story?
2-story, yes. So a smaller footprint.
Outbuildings.
None are in the plans yet.
Yeah.
Yes, question right here.
Yes, if this is gonna be a residential vacation home, wouldn't you change it from the church to you?
No, because it's a place for ministers to live. So it'd be where I would be.
Question in the back?
It-
Legal. All the way in the back?
Yes, because it's so far away.
You turn the mic off.
Part-time vacation home. What are your plans for the use of that property when you're not living in it?
Okay. So the question is, when you are not there, are there any plans for the
Well,
property?
we do have, we have sons, we have, immediate family that can come and be there as well. And so, other than that,
Can
you want to say something more, sir?
guests?
Go ahead, please.
How about guests? And how many guests?
My son will have a wife, they might have children by then, so I don't know that I don't know if I can answer that question fairly.
It'd be a limit of 2 guests overnight, because that's what the city allows.
Do you plan on having any kind of services when you're informal?
No more different than what you guys would have with having a birthday party or having some friends over.
I mean church service. When
I
you're
don't think so. We didn't have it.
prayer groups,
No.
Bible reading.
Well, I read the Bible every day,
No,
sir.
no.
Well, like you just said, Bible
Having
reading.
people over to do those functions.
That will not be.
Non-family people over to do those.
Yeah, we can have 2 non-family people over, and it will not be for that function. Thank you.
Go ahead.
She's calling them, not me.
Nancy.
What prompted you to file the quit claim in April of 2019 and put the ownership in the name of your nonprofit? Was it financial? Because let me tell you, I think everyone in this room would like to do the same. No, I'm serious, because now you're not contributing to our tax base in our city, but you are using
is coming for that one. Next question, Jen?
Saying that it's being built under the church's name and on your blogs, it says that you're registered in the state of Montana as a nonprofit Christian. When you leave, can you leave your registration or a copy of what it is? I couldn't locate it in Montana as being a nonprofit but if you'll leave that, and then when you say it's 3,000 square foot on a double lot, are you putting the home in the middle of the lot, because it's been combined? And how many, so you have a plan at the city that we could go in and take a look at, and it will show us that it is a much smaller house? Or is it 3,000 square foot on each level?
No,
No. It's about 1,500 square feet on each level.
Okay. Susie?
Yes. So in other words, you're kind of describing this as a parsonage, so that you can maintain also your tax exempt as a ministry. Is that what it is versus a vacation home? It's a parsonage for you because of your church?
Basically the same thing.
No, it's not. It's two different things. I'm asking you, is this a?
Go ahead, please do. I love that.
Jim?
Yeah, we got nothing to hide, sir.
And then Jim, and then this lady right here, who's in my dog.
Susan, this is a question for you. I'm a little confused. Are there other parsonages in town for the other churches? Yes. There are other parsonages?
Somebody is saying yes, Dennis?
There's one over by the community club, at least I know of one there. That's not near church, so yes, there is at least one that is tax exempt.
Yeah, they don't pay taxes
May I
on
ask
those
the
either.
city administrator, do you have any idea the answer to that? Are there other parsonages?
I believe there is one, but I believe that area that he's discussing is also zoned differently.
Okay, different zone area, so not in a residential area.
No, it's a
Okay,
different,
very
they're
good.
zoned
If
different.
this
Yes,
tax
ma'am.
break or tax-free or whatever is for a church, on the website, there's no church, it's a P.O. box. What church are you representing?
That would be Father and Son's Ministries.
Is that your ministries?
That is our ministry.
Okay, so I'll follow up with that question. So is there a physical location for Father and Son's ministry, a church where people congregate?
We had one in Kirkland.
You did have, but you no longer do.
Correct.
Okay. You had your hand up before. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, who do you anticipate using this house, this residence?
Just ask.
Us and
You, and
immediate
if any
family.
guests were to come, will you be with them?
Of course, absolutely.
They will be here with you?
Yeah, or they would not be here.
Okay, so being a parsonage and a church, that's a business, whether it's a nonprofit or not, it's still a business, not a personal residence.
Right.
So this is where we see something different. This residence should be considered a residence, not a church property. And therefore, it should be assessed the taxes like every other residence in that zone. It's zoned residential. We don't believe that there should be any preferential treatment simply because the property's owned by a church, which is not taxable. That's the standing of most of the people in the community. We pay taxes on our property to help fund the services that you will be enjoying and partaking of without having to pay into those taxes. And that's not fair.
I have a question. Do you, just one more, and I'm going to ask him more. Do you support this community?
Absolutely.
Then tell me, why did you bring somebody from Greatland in to clear that disastrous mess you made on that lot?
Because nobody else was available for about a year to a year and a half out. And we still in the building of it, we just had it cleared, and we won't even be able to get it built for another year and a half to a year.
So you're telling me that on this side of Grays Harbor,
We've called all of them.
there is absolutely none.
We called all of them.
All right, thank you. That's a question over here.
No, there's also
Yep, we know.
question of perceived lack of integrity on clearing that lot. Also, did you realize that the permit to clear that lot had been expired since November, and went ahead and did it anyways, and just going to eat the fine? Or was there another permit pulled to do that clearing of the property like we had to do when we cleared ours?
It was filed in November, sir, so how could it be expired in November? It would have had 3 months from the time of the filing.
Well, they got a copy right here.
When did it expire in November? The expiration
We have a copy of
date
it.
is on.
I have a question on whether or not the clearing permit was valid, correct? Is that what we're asking? Okay, Frank?
Okay, the permit was taken out May 12th of 21. Right here on
Yeah, that's what it says on
The
that.
expiration date is also on there.
So you can see our perception of lack of integrity.
Okay, so it appears that the permit for the clearing was expired. Scott, can you address that for us?
That is correct. The clearing permit had expired three months before the lot was cleared.
Okay, do we have anything in the city that allows people to clear on an unexpired permit?
No, technically that would result in a fine.
Okay, thank you.
And so you were unaware that the permit was expired? Is that right?
We were not aware of that. Can I ask you a question, Scott?
Yeah.
Was that permit to clear the lot, or was that permit for the tree? There's one really big tree in our lot.
Yeah, so this is just the clearing, this is just the lot clearing. So while I'm standing here, why don't I just address, or sitting here, why don't I address?
Why don't you come up front, Scott,
Sure.
please?
Let me
Thank
just
you.
address.
And I do appreciate you being here
Yeah,
today.
yes.
Thank you.
So let me just address the legal issues, because the city doesn't have an opinion outside of what's legal. And people are getting confused on different processes. So there's several processes you have to go to in order to get a structure built within Ocean Shores. And the first is obviously a very simple one. Anyone can clear a lot here. You don't have to have a house on it, you don't have to, So the lot clearing permit, that's what they applied for in May of 2021, and that expired 3 months ago when the lot was cleared. That's not entirely uncommon at this point, because I do agree it's been very hard to get lot clearing people able to do that work. But that's just one issue. That's just for lot clearing and utility sewer water hookups, okay? So then there's the other part, which was what was denied the first time, and that was the conditional use permit. So the conditional use permit process is, okay, I'm going to build a structure, but what I use that structure for, is that allowed? And that was where their first, and the city's hearing examiner said, based on the code of the city, no, that is not allowed. And then the third part is a building permit. So once you've cleared that CUP process, then you have to go and get a building permit. So only one building permit, this is where people are confused, has ever been submitted to the city. And that is the one that was submitted for this residence. That's all we have on file, that's all we have seen. That has not been processed, that has not been accepted. Our building department has had 6 different comments they need for review before that building can even be built. So that's just where the city stands on it. That building permit has not been issued. We only have 1 record on file. And Sarah, I don't know if you want to add anything to what I'm saying up here at this point.
Not really. I think what you were speaking about clearing permit versus the tree is that prior to a clearing permit being given out by the city, the planner goes and does an environmental review of the property, and that's where he dictates on the clearing permit that you can't remove these substance trees from the property.
Right.
So you only had 1 permit for clearing. That's the one that expired on November 12th of 2021 that was issued May 7th of 2021.
Okay.
And that environmental review is what articulated what trees had to remain on the property. So
Yeah,
one
and in addition to those trees, it's also like it marks the setbacks from water, from shoreline, all of that. So that all goes into that single clearing permit. We have a bunch of questions.
Frank,
Scott, I would
just a second, just 1 second.
Okay, I also want to note that they had a driveway and culvert permit that was expired. That was taken out in March of 21.
But that has not been worked on, correct?
No, that's work is done.
They're in.
Yeah.
They're already in.
Hold on, please. That work has been executed.
It has?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
All right, so then again, let's be sure that we're clear here. The culvert has been put in, and a driveway has been put in, correct?
And I will explain the protocol
Okay.
from a builder's
This is
perspective.
Bill. Okay,
I'm
go
a
ahead.
general contractor for 24 years in Ocean Shores. The protocol, I cannot enter a lot technically without posting a valid clearing.
Permit, correct.
Yeah, driveway permit.
Yes.
I have all the answers to the protocol. When I get my time, I will be able to explain that, of how things should be done in Ocean Shores.
But it sounds like the rules weren't followed in this case. That's just what it sounds like.
I can't speak.
So that's a different thing. That's it. And I won't address that issue because that's, at this point, that's for the city planner to make that determination.
The only thing I'm gonna talk about is March 17th, a gloomy day for Razor Clam Drive.
Yeah. Lady in the middle there.
So if there wasn't a permit and a company came in and cleared it, is that fine on him or the guy who cleared it without a permit in hand?
It can be both.
It can be both.
It can be both.
Okay.
Question in the back. Yes, sir.
Okay, they posted a permit that was expired, and they had the permit turned around backwards, so no one could see what the date was. That's deception. That is a lie.
They put it out at 4 o'clock.
And
we asked for it in the morning.
And that is an issue for A, code enforcement, and B, for our.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And yeah.
I'd call, I'd never know what's.
Okay.
I'd like to say that there was already a culvert and halfway on there to get onto the property. So, that was already there.
So what I'm hearing,
Here, I can go.
thank you. So what I'm hearing is that there are some concerns in terms of what has taken place on the property that may have been done incorrectly, but I'm hearing that they didn't know. They hired somebody to do it, and that somebody came out and did what they were doing. I know that there've been a lot of eyes here. So I have a question for you. Did somebody call the city when this was being cleared to complain? Did anybody call?
There
Thank
were
you. Yes, sir?
officials there that.
Yes, after I got hit by a piece of wood, but they were chipping around there, I confronted the contractor, and I asked him what was going on there, because we're putting in a church. He looked at me and said, "Don't you like churches?" And I said, "Well, not in the residential area." So after that, I thought I was going to get actually a fist fight with the guy. I walked away. As I was calling the city, a city truck pulled up down the street by the bridge down there. And I told him what was going on, which is Mr. Wagner, and I guess he's in charge of all the
Streets
permits and
Department,
stuff.
yes.
He said, "Well, I'll go down there right away and look at it." So as he went down there to look at it, the noise had stopped from the chipper. So I figured they had stopped work. As soon as he left, it started up again. My question to the city is, why wasn't a stop order work permit put on there?
Okay. All right. Fair enough question, and that can be investigated. Yes, ma'am, and then over here. Go ahead.
My understanding is you have to request a waiver of taxes for a not-for-profit. So you would be using the services that the rest of us not only use and pay for. So in fairness to the community, would you be willing to not request a waiver and pay the taxes that the rest of us are paying on property?
Yeah, it's already gone through. I don't know that we can reverse that.
Wait a minute. Now you down again. I think some of these questions they're sort of rhetorical questions.
They are.
And I think that this is probably a difficult position to put the McCluskeys
we
in
love
terms
being in
of
this
answering
position.
it. If you think about, I'm just going to throw this out, playing devil's advocate. Okay? My husband and I don't make very much money, and we're old and we're disabled, and we qualify for a 60% exemption on our property taxes. And there are people in Ocean Shores that are very angry about that because they say that they have to pay the balance of it because we're not paying it. So there are a lot of different things that affect us here. In this particular case, we may not like it, but I don't know that they're doing something that they can't do. I appreciate the fact that you're sharing your thoughts because I think that's important, but I'm not sure that that's something that they can change or say something about. So bear in mind that as you're asking your questions, maybe they're a comment and a concern, but it's not something that they're actually going to answer today. And I'm saying this to you because I don't want you to be frustrated and say they haven't answered it. Because I would say, I don't know how I would answer that either. You said to me,
Right,
well,
but that's two different things. That you're not building $1 million structure.
okay, but understand where I'm coming from, just trying to moderate the meeting to get the questions and the answers that we can get that will serve your purpose. Melody.
Okay, I agree with Susan. If this is a resident, it is not our right to be able to tell them, just like all of us, if we have a house, who they can have come to dinner. I agree with that. The church is a no-go, completely a no-go. I think you're hiding behind something, personally. But was it surveyed? Because that was part of your clearing permit. And that's recorded with the city.
The previous builder I had did survey, yes, and that's how the person who cleared the lot knew where to go, because those survey things are still, stakes are still there.
Thank you, and I had the lady here in, yes, and then, I'm sorry, I missed you out. You'll go next. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. How many parking spaces will this have?
Or just a driveway and then a garage for 2
Yeah.
cars.
Okay, that's not what we did. Oh.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, my concern is we live right by there.
Okay.
We've also read how many states you've been run out of because you're not honest, you're not legal.
Churches out of any state.
Okay,
I'm
well,
sorry where you got your information, but that's wrong.
okay, well, if you look up on the website under your church, under your name, you will see. It's not very many.
I've lived here for 42 years and I've never been run out of this state. I haven't been run out of other states either.
Okay. In the back. Yes, go ahead.
Will future permits be posted before the work is done? Will they be facing the road? And will we be allowed and able to see these permits before the work is done?
It should be.
Yeah.
Well, should is different than will be.
That's up to the builder to post those, not us. Go ahead.
I want to know how many homes you own, where they are, and are they considered parsonages also?
I don't think that's any of your business.
You're building on 2 of your lots. That leaves 1 lot free and clear. Is that going to be for overflow parking when you have family
The lots have
gatherings?
been joined, they are now
Combined.
considered one lot.
Exactly.
There's only 2 lots there. There's not more than 2.
Okay, I guess I know the other 3 lots.
No, there's only 2, and they're all, it's one now. Thank you.
Jan, go ahead.
Well, if you're building on the 2 lots have been combined, are you building on one side of it more than the other, or are you building in the middle?
Right down the middle.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
This guy down here has something he wants to say. And he's holding his tongue, I don't know.
Okay, all right. Do we have any more pertinent questions right at this moment for the McCluskeys? Go ahead, Nadia.
We have drawings that you submitted to the city, the first time when we had your church, there were both sides, but you were gonna put in the church. And then, did you modify that drawing to reflect the new residents?
No, I threw the whole drawing out and got a regular house
Started over.
drawing from a contractor, from an architect.
No, what I'm saying is, you modified your drawings from being a church.
No, we didn't modify it, we threw it out.
Okay, so where's the new drawings for the house, the residents?
In the city planning.
Those are in the building department.
Permit office.
Those are, the building
In the
department.
department, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. I had a request when we started the meeting that Bill has a few things that he would like to share. So if you guys would like to sit for a moment.
Yeah.
And we'll have Bill get up here and then share what you want to. And that way they can hear it, and maybe they have some questions for you too.
Good morning. It's good to see my friends and neighbors here today.
Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I'm going to give you a presentation. My name is...
Gotta talk louder. The microphone is broken.
I'll try to speak louder. I'm a builder here for 24 years in Ocean Shore. I know about the current codes and way things are supposed to be done. I'm here to give you the builder's perspective about the clearing and the driveway actions. I'm only going to be talking about March 17th and the actions that were taken by Fred Long's construction company from Grayland, Washington on March 17th. Can you hear me a little better now? It was a gloomy day on March 17th, as you may remember, for the residents of Razor Clam Drive. I was told or tipped off that the church provisioners, may I call you, were having a lovely day in sunny Buckleteal, but we weren't having a good day that day. Some people are talking about misinformation. I would like to talk facts the best I can. I have tried to work with the church developers, and several people know it, numerous times to purchase at fair market value and to help them find a more suitable location in Ocean Shore. That has all changed after March 17th and the ravaging of the lots. The contractor, retreat developers posted an expired driveway clearing permit. Finally, at the completion of the day, March 17th, they posted it on the post because I'd asked for it during the process. I am expected to post it prior to any work, and I do that. The clearing protocol was totally disregarded. Normally, a contractor is expected to place the culvert to city specifications, call for an inspection, be approved, then backfill. At this point, you can move into the lot clearing phase or segment. That's a fact. Normally, a contractor is expected to request a utility locate 3 to 4 days prior to digging in the right-of-way. That did not happen. That's a fact. The contractor used an untypical gravel to backfill the culvert. That's a fact. The contractor used a piece of equipment that I would like to explain would be typically used in a logging camp, not in a residential neighborhood. It threw limbs and branches over 12 inches wide. It even hit a citizen walking down the road. Hit my home, my vehicles, and my trailer.
And your dog.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. My little puppy dog got a piece of the limb, thinking it was a bone, and how do I say it gently? Upchucked, I don't know, what do you want to call it, about 3 different times in the evening. The contractor did not mark, identify, or string the lot lines. You claim there was a survey. I don't see evidence of that because there are certain things that would have accompanied that. The citizens still have not seen a valid clearing permit. a fact.
You've said that like 3 times. We do understand English and we are adults here. You said it 3 times.
Excuse
said it
just
3
stop for
times.
just a second. You have to understand that for people, this is emotional.
Okay.
And you're
And
chastising.
I think that you
No,
need
I'm
to.
just asking you 3 times.
You
maybe
need
it
to
needs to
listen,
get
and
put
we're
in your head.
listening to you, listen to what you say, have the courtesy to let him finish, and then you can respond, okay?
All right, thank you.
After the fact, I tried to cool down. The next day, I called the police department. Very nice officer. Explained the situation. They seem to have heard about it from other parts of the state. I did get a phone call. I asked to get someone to come out, physically look at the issues, and make a police report. But no one came out to look at the issues and survey. To this date, no one has come out to look at the issues. And I'm not even aware if you have been out there to see the devastation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Cindy?
I find it very interesting that after you threw out the plans for the church, because you were not doing things by the guidelines that were given to you, that you even would want to build here in a place to where you're not welcome. I think it would be best that you sell your
I appreciate your opinion. Thank you.
I'm
Well
trying to be the moderator here. I unfortunately will have to live across the street from you. And I would just like you to tell me, after all the heartache and after all the hearings and being denied, what is it that makes you want to come to this neighborhood?
Years ago, we found the lot and fell in love with it and wanted to build. And we've been waiting over 20 years to build, and I still want to build.
Okay.
Wasn't there more?
But at that time you wanted to build a church, is that not correct?
In the very beginning, no. We were just going to build a vacation home.
Do you feel that your home is in alignment with the types of homes that we have?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Small. It's smaller than a lot of the homes that are in Ocean Shores.
No, on our street. And the neighborhood, I'm asking about what is in the neighborhood.
I don't know what square footage your homes are.
So you're saying that this home is 3,000 square feet, is that correct? Okay. So, we were to look at 3,000 square feet. And it is going to have a 2-car garage. And then there will be a driveway.
To the garage.
Okay. And it is 2 stories.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead with your question.
Okay, I sat here for the original meetings and listened to everybody talk and didn't say anything because most people expressed what I was thinking anyway or questioning. But at the end of the hearing, someone who was here, a young woman or a woman, was apparently a friend of yours or your representative that was here, was expressing the different options for things you'd consider. Instead of it being a church, but a parsonage or a refuge or a retreat. And the hearing administrator, whoever he was, said, I can't address those issues because there's been nothing formally submitted for those plans. All I can address is the issue of this church that has been submitted. So, can you understand why, after 3 years plus, we would question whether or not we're being told the truth now? Can you understand that?
I apologize.
And why we don't want to live in a residential community where we all bought our properties expecting people in the neighborhood to follow the codes, the rules, whatever. We all know that there are things that you could apply for a variance for, and some will be permitted and some will not. That's fine. We all understand. We live under those same rules. I'm not a religious person, but I have nothing personal against churches. You leave yourself alone and I'll leave you alone and you can leave me alone. That's fine. We'll live and let live. I don't even care about your taxes. That's like, I could care less. 3.5 years ago, it was an issue because frankly, our town was in bad shape still 3.5 years ago, and now we're in much better shape. But nevertheless, that's not my issue. My issue is, I don't believe you at this point in time. And I don't think most of us here that were here for the first hearing and heard all of the things that were thrown out believe you either. So our fear is if you would have a contractor come and clear your lot, and I understand there's delays with contractors right now in our city because it's building like crazy. If you had a contractor who would come and ignore the codes and the realities, and you're not taking responsibility of it because it's the contractor's responsibility, then again, I ask you, how can we be expected to believe you now or trust what you're saying to us because you haven't given us any evidence to believe in? I don't think you have an answer to that.
No, I just want to say we hired the guy that we thought could get it done in a timely manner. We honestly didn't realize that the permit was expired.
We didn't know.
We didn't know. Had we known, we would have never told him to come. And even as is, you know, we had been waiting for him to come out here 3.5 months. And, you know, and so it's been, and we called 25 contractors in Ocean Shores, and out of the 25, 3 called us back. And out of those 3, they said they had a minimal, well, one said over a year wait, we're not taking anybody. The other one said, it's going to be 1.5 years, and the other one said that we can't do it. Our business is downsizing. We cannot take on any, definitely not that size and that scope of a building. I mean, we have no excuses. We should not have cleared that lot. But in retrospect, I can't change what we've done. I ask you to forgive me for the misunderstanding. That's the best I can do, and you know that might not be enough, but I mean that's all I can do at this point, right? And so we didn't know, and we do need to talk to that gentleman because he should have let us know, and we should not have cleared that lot. Absolutely not. No permit, no clearing. It should have been done. It should have been done according to what. And this guy is well known in Grays Harbor. In Graceland. He's well known. He's got a name out there. He's really, really good, and he's personal friends of ours. And I'm just being honest. And we trusted him.
Okay, you guys.
We have a question in the back. Mike, go ahead.
Okay, so one thing I disagree with this lady that just spoke is the tax issue. So maybe Scott can answer this, or Frank, or Susan. I have a question. I don't understand if it's going to be a residence and a vacation home, how can it get a tax break? It's not a freaking, it's not a church. It's not going to be used for a church. Yet they're getting a tax break because they are the church. I do not understand how that works.
Just so you know, that's not just briefly, that is not a city issue, that's a federal issue. And how they file their forms.
Don't you believe that's an issue?
It's not an issue the city can address in any way. I can't tell you you're a church or not a church. A church is allowed in an R1 zone. That can be done. That's not the reason that the conditional use permit wasn't granted in this case. It's not because it was a church. It's a federal issue whether the tax code defines that as a church or not. It's not something the city has any authority over.
Thank you. I had somebody else right here, and then Melody, and then David in the back. Go ahead.
I'm new to this area, and I am currently in the process of building a home. My home is 2,900 square feet, okay? 3 bedroom, 3 bath, 2-car garage, single driveway. But as a homeowner and as a conscientious, I want to be a citizen here, you know, and community member, all I had to do was walk to the building permitting department and talk, what do I need to do to get this right? What do I need to do to submit all of my permits, inspections, who needs to come, when? And yes, the mapping out with the stringing of your property stakes, all of that has to be inspected. It's not rocket science. You just have to show up and do your due diligence. And that's what I suggest that you guys do, because there's a wealth of information there, and then you can act on that as you need to. But it sounds like you haven't done that.
You're right.
So now
You're right.
a lot of fingers are being pointed at you.
It should be.
And it's overwhelming, there's a lot of information, and it is a huge learning curve. But you do have to have things inspected and checked on, and I've even had things triple inspected. It's important, and it's important that you be here to watch this process, because ultimately, you are the responsible party.
Right.
Just like I am.
We assumed that the builder was going to be doing all that.
There's your problem. You assume.
You're right.
You
You're
cannot,
right.
you are the responsible party.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Good
Thank
luck.
you. Melody?
Can I address why some of the permits are in your name personally and the building permits in the ministry's name?
I have no idea. I haven't.
Well, you better-
I haven't been doing the submitting. The builder I hired has been submitting.
Okay, thank you. David?
My wife and I walk by there, we have a couple of dogs, and we have 2 rugs, we walk every day. So we walk down your street you're gonna be on, or that you've got your work going on, every day. And we saw what happened there, we saw that it was cleared, and we were asked to come here. Now, I walk up there, and there's a real big difference from house to house. There's some real old ones that are pretty run down and look like they're abandoned. There's a couple of new houses that are going in, they're quite small, probably a third of what you're doing. And then there's a bunch of older places, and none of them are $1 million homes. So when you said that it fit in our neighborhood, your place, it does not. It has no fit. It'll be like a big sore thumb, the biggest, richest street, house on that street. There'll be nothing to compare it to. And so my point really is that you've chosen a neighborhood that's not appropriate for what you're doing.
Agreed. I'd like to address why is everyone labeling as $1 million home?
Because he said it was. He talked about it as if it were. Is it $1 million home?
No.
It'll be close to by the time you're done.
Because the property values are going through the roof here.
You don't think,
I'm
I'm not gonna argue with you.
Yes,
The property values are going up so fast here that there are houses that were worth $300,000 a year or two ago that are worth $600,000 today. So that's kind of the reason, because the boom here has caused this huge increase in value. But from listening to your description, you do have a very elegant house. And I would imagine that it's gonna be the nicest looking house on the street. And it doesn't fit with the others.
Thank you.
These
Go
are
ahead.
the same
I think it's just a little confusing for me too, because the last time I came to this meeting, the last time I came to this meeting, you had a different partner with you, a husband, who, so I would appreciate it if your new partner would clarify just how long he's been doing it, because he hasn't been helping you for 20 years, has he? Which is how long you've owned the lot, and how long you've had your dream to build on it.
Sorry, I had a cough. This partner is a new partner, and when you bought the lot, you were with your husband. And he passed away. So I just appreciated if your new partner would not say he'd been involved for 20 years in this dream along with you, because it just confused me tremendously sitting back here after attending the first meeting. So you haven't been involved for 20 years, right?
Definitely not.
How long have you been involved?
I've been involved with Michelle for 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Question later.
I just want a clarification on this house. You said this is a 4-bedroom home, and you said you're gonna have 3 or 4 bathrooms. Will each one of those bedrooms be a master bedroom with the bathroom attached? Well, I'm trying to understand how you're gonna have 4 bedrooms and 3 or 4 baths. How's that gonna work?
Powder room is one of the bathrooms.
Say that again?
A powder room is one of the bathrooms.
And then
Okay.
she's gonna have three of the bedrooms are gonna have a bathroom attached to it.
So,
Well,
they're gonna
not
be
a
master
master
bedrooms, the
No,
same thing.
the bathrooms are not, only to the master bathroom. Bedroom is a master bath attached. The other ones are open to, two of them, 2 bedrooms upstairs with 1 bathroom that both of them will use.
Okay.
And a bathroom downstairs that is not, it's near the other bedroom, but it's not in the bedroom.
Okay,
Okay,
so
we're
only
going
2
to-
bedrooms will have baths then? 2 bedrooms will actually have bathrooms attached to them?
No, one,
Just the one, okay.
We have 5 more minutes of this portion of the meeting, so let's finish up the questions. I think there were 2 over here. Go ahead.
Okay. Is your house in Kirkland considered a parsonage? So you don't pay taxes there either?
Can I have a question for Scott? If indeed they.
Good, but he walked out.
Oh, okay. If indeed they do build a private residence under the church, in later dates, can they ask for a variance and open up a church in there or a bed and breakfast?
It's a good question, so let me read to you. Did you all see the announcement, the public announcement that the mayor put onto the website? Raise your hand if you saw it. Okay, good, pretty much everybody. So at the last portion of the decision by the hearing examiner for the original conditional use permit, he did not address the parsonage or the retreat center. That was part of his decision, which means, my understanding, if it were to be a parsonage or a retreat center, Michelle and Marcia would have to apply for a conditional use permit. And the whole process would go through again, and you would have the same opportunities that you had before. That has not happened, as far as I know it isn't happening. We're talking about a home that's being built at this point. So the protections to the neighborhood appear to be here, given what the hearing examiner wrote. Am I correct, Sarah?
That's 100% correct.
Okay.
They'd have to go through the entire process all over again, and based on our current municipal code, it would go unapproved again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more question. Yes, ma'am.
I just had a question about, you had said that the people that were clearing your lot were good friends, and that they were clearing it for a church, because that's what they said to the gentleman that was here. So if they're really good friends and you're not clearing it for a church, why would they say that?
I don't know why.
Because it implies to us that it's still being used for something along those lines. Even though you're saying not.
But that information was not correct.
They were incorrect.
They were
But they're
incorrect.
good friends, you actually stated that they're good friends.
Yes, they are good friends. Yes, they
They're
are.
not.
Yes, yes. But even good friends make mistakes, don't they?
Well, but you're responsible.
I get that, and so we have, so let me just state a couple
Okay,
things.
so
You're
let's do
absolutely
this.
right.
Let's do this. We appreciate your questions, and you may have many more. And if there are, do you wish to have them connect with you somehow if there are additional questions? Do you want them to come through Marty, who's put this together? How do you want that to take place first? If somebody didn't ask a question and they've got a question, what would you like?
Yeah, that's fine.
Which one?
They can go through Marty.
Go through Marty,
Please,
and
thank
then
you.
Marty will get it to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I'd like to do at this point is give Michelle and Marcel an opportunity to speak again, and then we are going to take a break. There are some refreshments, coffee and cookies. We are going to bid them adieu, and if you would like to stay for another half an hour, I'm willing to do that, and we can discuss other issues that you may have or what you would like to do moving forward. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay. Would you like to speak to us again?
Yeah, so we've really learned some things. We've trusted people that weren't completely trustworthy. I'm just being honest. You think that they said they were going to do what they said. And so, obviously, due diligence, we are lacking in that area. And we did not do the due diligence. We didn't We didn't oversee it like we could have, because we thought that the people were gonna do what they said they were gonna do, and they didn't. And so, on us, that's our bad, that is, we need to apologize, and I do apologize. I can't change what's already happened, but what I can say from here forward, everything's gonna be above the board, because we can't do it any other way. You guys deserve that, as a community and as individuals living in this community.
Take your time and pay your taxes.
Yeah. You know, you're making this big deal over the taxes, but if you were us, would you be making it? Well, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. All I'm saying, okay, you know, that's between you and the city and the government.
It's fraudulent.
That's an assumption.
You wouldn't be
That's an
part of our
assumption.
community, this is not the way to.
Ah, you know what?
All right,
That's-
so we made it to this part fairly well. We have given our guests an opportunity to speak, and I for one want to thank them for coming. I did not know when I offered Marty and Susie to host the meeting. I thought it was just going to be community members, and we were going to be discussing this. I did reach out to the mayor and ask for someone from administration to come, and very fortunate that we have our city administrator and our clerk here. But Michelle made the decision that she wanted to come. And I do believe that it was really quite brave of them to come, knowing that they were coming into a hostile environment. They knew that from the original hearing. So I appreciate them coming. I appreciate your questions. And I know that this is not a dead issue. I know that there are concerns that perhaps we can't fix or solve at this point. But remember, there is a third party here, and that is the city, where we're dealing with the permits and code enforcement, all the rest of that is there. The city, and particularly code enforcement, relies upon you, your eyes and ears when something is happening, to contact the city and ask the questions. Now, when the mayor spoke to me a couple of days ago, he said, please tell everybody that they must call right away. And many of you know that I was involved in lot clearing and grading issues for many years when I was on council, very angry because it just kept happening with lots of things, similar to what we've actually heard today. And we all reached the point where we stopped calling because nothing was being done. I can tell you that our new mayor has said that is not the case anymore. He appreciates you being the eyes and ears. He appreciates you making those calls, and it is important that you do. Now, you may find that some things are in line. They're okay, but some things may not be. And the only way that they know is if you call and ask the question, and they can look it up. So in this particular case, we have one issue on 2 lots, but there's other things that are happening in the neighborhood, and I would encourage you all to be eyes and ears on the whole. This is going on all over the place. This is not just this one where we're finding that somebody's coming in and clearing on an unexpired permit. So there's a lot of other work that we need to do, due diligence. And the fact that you all showed up today indicates to me that you really do care about these things in your neighborhoods. And we can all do a good job of doing that. So I would like you to thank Michelle and Marcio for coming, and I want to thank them for coming. And I'm sure that there will be more issues and questions and concerns that come up, and we can have other meetings. We're going to let our guests go, and we're going to stay for a little while. Let's have some coffee. We can banter amongst each other, and we can decide as a community what you would like to do next.
So I'm going to ask you all to stay. Scott, I would like to ask you also to stay, if you would, for just even a few questions and stuff, and then if you have to go,
Sure.
feel free. But we started this as a meeting so that the residents could talk, and we can walk up and down the streets, but we don't have the ability sometimes to talk. So it's good that you guys are all in one area, so we can get some questions out. And we'll have some questions that we will be bringing to the city, that we'll be asking, what about this, what about this? I will give you my email so that you can email them to me, and then I'll get something set up. And then, again, this will be an ongoing discussion. This is very near and dear to our hearts, and I know that there's a lot of very tense, hurt feelings. And the only thing that I will ask the McCluskeys to do at this point is to take responsibility for the actions that were
Yep.
done.
Thank you
Because
very
we
much.
have not seen that.
You're right.
So we would like to see that responsibility being shown.
Okay.
And at that point, thank you for coming, and, oh, I'm sorry.
I'd like to just make one comment. I believe there is an elephant in the room. This poster that somebody created, I think our community owes her an apology for that, because this was a personal picture on her personal Facebook page that somebody hijacked and created this poster thing. I don't think that is a very nice thing to do to somebody, anybody. I don't care whether you like the person, agree with what they're doing. That is unconscionable. And I think our community owes her an apology.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming. Safe drive home. I'm sure we'll see you again.
Looking forward to it. Amazing. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hearing our voices.